Hi everyone, it's Leslie Robinson, creator of the 5-Minute Facilitator. Welcome to Agreements. Agreements are arguably the most important facilitation technique that I use when I really want to accelerate deep, profound, and sustainable learning. By the end of this session, you will be able to describe 3 steps of class agreements. So how confident are you in describing 3 steps of class agreements now? You beginner, intermediate, expert? Agreements are a contract between the learners and you. Sometimes they're called rules of the road or ground rules. They're called several different things. I just like the word agreements. The purpose of the agreements are to create a safety net for the learners who are learning. And these agreements allow a vulnerability. I couldn't say that, vulnerability, to accelerate sustainable learning. Very powerful. There's 3 simple steps: the setup, the list, and the agreement itself, or asking for the agreement. So the setup is absolutely vital. The first thing I do is sort of create white space around me, around the group. I make sure that there's enough time. And I just hold a position where I'm not where attention is on me and they are quietening their conversation, if you know what I mean. And I tell them how important this next step is. I tell them that it's, for me, one of the most powerful techniques. And then when I have their attention, I repeat the learning objective. By the end of this session, you will be able to. And I might even repeat it a second time if the group is not quite all focused yet. I want them focused. And then I ask, what do you really need in order to really learn? It's a good question for everybody, and especially for the ones who are more the prisoners who've been told that they have to come to the class. But it's like, okay, forget about bosses and colleagues and anything else. What if you could actually really get something out of this? What do you need when you're a learner? What do you need from each other so that you can really learn? The second step is the list. After I ask those 2 questions, I just wait. It takes them a little while to get their head wrapped around it. So often we're not asked for agreements. Or if we are, somebody's already got a whole bunch of ideas and it's not really a question. But in my case, it really is a question, especially when I'm going in to do the deep inner work. So then they start to give suggestions. Well, I need confidentiality, or that people are on time, or that the cell phones are turned off, or they come up with ideas. And if it's a little more ambiguous, then I just clarify the context. What actually do you mean by that? Oh, I mean that I don't like it when people have different opinions to mine, and then it's like, oh, okay. But then as we talk it through and I ask some more questions, maybe, oh, no, it's okay for people to have different opinions to mine. I just need to know that I'm safe to have my own. And so then we put something about respect or owning our own opinions or something like that. We use that. We simplify it down to 1, 2, or 3 words, really simple. And I record their word. And that recording of the word will be on face-to-face, it would be on a flip chart, or maybe on a part of the green board or the white board, smart board, whatever we have in the room. And then online, it would be we would do it right here. Okay. But we record their words. And then the third step is to agree. And I say to them that once we've got a list, and it looks like we're nearing completion and getting ready for that agreement, and I ask for an eyeball nod, where we make eye contact with each other and then we nod. All right? Or I ask for hands up. Or sometimes, in challenging situations, I will get them to each come up and write with their signature that they agree to, so it's right on the flip chart or on the board, or we can even do it electronically online. I also mentioned to them that this is a living document, that we can still make changes, but these are the agreements to get us started. But then what I do is I say, let's take a safe word. Like, what happens if we breach the agreements? It's one thing to make them, but another if they get breached. So we often have a word like ouch, or any crazy word. It was one word that one group had, and it was platypus. And I remember in that group that emotions got quite high. And I remember hearing, when I was working on one side of the room, on the other side of the room, I heard, is this a platypus moment? And it's like, what? What is this? And I turned around, and there was one guy who was about to plow another one. Yeah, that was a platypus moment. And so I was able to act right away. The whole class was able to act. And a part of the agreements is that anybody can call it. It's not for the facilitator to do it. I mean, we will if it's necessary, but anybody can call it. So once we understand all of that, then I get the eyeball contact, or the eyeball nod, right? Or the signing, or the hands up, and then post it so that it stays visible throughout the workshop. So 3 steps: the setup, the list, and the agreement. So your task in the learning objective was to describe each step. So take a moment now and describe what happens in each of the 3 steps: the setup, the list, and the agreement. Did you get them? The setup, stating the objective and asking the question, what do you really need in order to really learn? The list, to clarify, simplify, write their word. And then the agreement itself. It's a living document. We've got ouch, or platypus. We make eye contact and we nod, and then we post it. And that, my friends, is agreements. Arguably the most powerful tool in my facilitation toolkit. So if you're continuing on, then create your script for inviting class agreements in your class. Just write it out. And moving forward, we've now completed climate setting and agreements. We're moving into learning styles, group dynamics, and feedback. Talking about feedback. So what specifically am I doing that is working well for you? What is working well? WWW. It's whatever that is. I'll keep doing it. And then EBI. What could I do to make it even better? Or if I did it, it would be even better if I did this. This is your learning. And I want this to be the best learning experience for you. Thank you. That concludes agreements.